We're here with Inspiral Carpets for Virgin Radio ahead of the Oasis reunion, big gigs in the summer. Thank you for coming in. How are you feeling?
Really gutted that we didn't get any supports for them. If you're watching, Noel, come on, give us a shout. No, it's all good in the Inspiral's camp, innit?
Yep, very good. Yeah, we're interesting news about Oasis. You kind of feel like it was always going to happen, but there was just no hint that when it was about to get announced, other than a couple of days beforehand, there was a few teasers went out. But it's fantastic that the number of people who, the vast spread of age of people who are interested in going watching them is quite amazing, really. Yeah. So they obviously spoke for more than just a generation.
Mm-hmm. And Noel, famously, was your roadie for a bit of time. How did you meet him?
He was a fan of the band, so through 87 into 88, he started coming watching us. So we were aware of him, we knew him. I think Craig, our drummer, became really close to him. And Noel was one of the first people when Steve, our original singer, who's now our current singer, when Steve left, Noel was the first person that said, I want to audition to be a singer. So we had an audition evening with him. And it was good. He could sing, but it wasn't the kind of style of vocal that we wanted. We wanted something, because with Steve, he had big lungs, big set of lungs. Great singer as well. I've got to say that, he was over there. But yeah, so we needed somebody with a big voice, and Noel didn't have a big voice, even though he was a songwriter. He was a musician. He was playing us tapes of songs that he'd made. But we liked him that much. We just said, come and work for us. And we say, he's credited as being our roadie, but it was more than that. He did a lot of work. When we weren't on the road, he'd be with us every day. So yeah, it was great memories of those years with him travelling the world with us. Graham, what do you say?
Yeah, very much. Never shy to give his opinion on anything the band were doing, which was very funny, and taking the mickey. And in many ways, sort of was the sixth member. And I think Noel, I'm sure Noel would say that he watched how we ran our operation and took what he learned, some of the things from us about how the band run. When he went off to do Oasis, he did some things the same way as us and some things the complete opposite. But yeah, we're it's fantastic to get it together. You kind of just got to feel that. I hope they realise how special they are to people. I'm sure the number of tickets they've sold will hit it home to them that how special they were.
And what was Noel like then? Was he quite a shy character, or was he sort of the rock star that we know him as?
There's some similarities that he just is, to me, when I see him on TV, he just is the same person as he was that worked with us. He used to love pot noodles. Didn't have a massive varied diet. He was from very much working class beginnings in Burnage. Really funny, really knowledgeable about music. If we ever had anything like a quiz about music, or if there was any question about music, not Noel, I think through his dad was a DJ through the 60s and 70s, so I think he had a vast knowledge of singles, who had a hit with this record or whatever. He had a great knowledge of music, and was always interested in listening to new bands that he'd not come across yet. Like I remember giving him tapes of bands like Fleetwood Mac, early Fleetwood Mac, maybe like mid-period Stones and stuff. I had a Stone Roses album that never got released. I remember giving him a copy of that, and he'd always be quite keen to listen to it, because he was a big music fan,
Mm-hmm. So he gave his opinion, he auditioned, and then he got the job. Was he good at the job? Was he a good roadie tech?
We never saw him sweat. But
quite often had to wake him up.
As a roadie, he'd do the right thing, which was we'd pull up to a venue and he'd get everybody else to do the work. People that worked at the venue, he'd get them to bring the gear and money. But that's part of what you're doing. If you a roadie, you use a local crew. It was good. He never let us down, I don't think. We never walked on stage and everything was not plugged in yet. Did we?
Munich sound mixing desk, monitor desk. Well, that's another story. That wasn't quite no fault.
But yeah, it was great to be around. And like you said, was he shy? Never shy. Always confident. Very streetwise, as I remember it. I think coming from, a family where there was just one parent, because we were all from like steady homes with both parents still around, weren't we? So I think to be around somebody like him that was like this different kind of soul, I think, than we were, but we loved him. I think we learnt from him as well. We benefited, like he used to get a lot of knock-off gear as well, didn't he?
Yeah, very good at that. Yeah.
Him and his bits. But no, it's to me it was like we didn't realise at the time where he was going. Obviously, we knew he was a musician. He wanted to be a musician in his own right rather than a roadie. But none of us could have predicted what he's gone on to achieve.
So when he played you those early songs, you didn't hear the success in it just yet?
Not success. I don't even think he would have done at the time. But remember, he had one called The Man, didn't he? I am the man, yeah. I am the man. This could turn into a Spinal Tap scene now, couldn't it? I am the man. But yeah, so none of us saw the potential of this massive, iconic, voice of a generation, whatever you want to call it. Definitely one of the most successful British songwriters of all time. We weren't thinking that back then, but we knew he was into music. We knew that he wanted to be his own musician. You forgot to mention as well, so he wasn't just listening to guitar music, he was really into Burt Bacharach and stuff like that, wasn't he? Yeah,
Coffee.
What?
Danish coffee.
Is it Danish coffee, that? I thought it was just from Cantina, yeah.
No, he had. I remember him playing some stuff, but I think he was called Dennis. Certainly his surname was Coffee, but yeah, he was very open to listening to different types of music.
And then what did he think he learned from you? You touched on it earlier, saying that he chose to do some things.
I'm sure Noel would see that we were a democracy. So anybody who joined the band had an equal say in how it run. And he didn't, I don't think he thought that was possibly the way forward of getting the maximum out of, if you're in charge, it's this way kind of thing. So I think he sort of did that different from the way we did it. But don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change the way we've done anything, including the choice we made when we didn't give Noel the job of singing, but we give him the job of roadieing. It was regular income for him. It meant that he could leave his job he was doing, and he came around the world with us. And we, like Clint said, we did learn from him as well as him learning from us. We had a great time and very funny, and a lot of anecdotes, not always that would be appropriate for recalling here at this moment in time, but cracking person to have around. Always looks out for us.
It still gives us credit for being. He still says that part of his career was his favourite as an adult, working, because he got treated well, he got decent money, got drugs and everything.
No pressure.
Not off us. But he got to see the world, you know what I mean? And he still, whenever I speak to him, he always says that was his favourite time of his career, which is quite a tribute to how we treated him, really, I think, you know what I mean?
And then when he left you, what was it like to see him explode onto the scene in that way in Oasis?
It was amazing to watch, but we at that point, we'd split the band up. In '95, spring '95, we split the Inspirals up. We took a break that ended up being an 8-year break. So we were all sat at home, with our feet up on our... And then suddenly there's our mate on telly. Headline news, front pages and all that. So, yeah, it was incredible to witness it, because, like I said, none of us saw it coming. When he left, or when we parted company with him, we were very actively supporting his new band, Oasis. We were going to the gigs at the Boardwalk, and I was phoning people up, A&R people, saying, you need to listen to what Noel's doing. So we're very supportive, but I think even then, none of us knew it was going to be the biggest band in the UK since Sex Pistols or what.
Also, I was just going to add to that if you look at it as well, we'd had Manchester and grunge was kind of bubbling, and then Oasis, another Manchester band, come along that Factory quite famously turned down, Factory Records. The odds were against them actually doing anything really. Five Jack the lads from Manchester, but they just went into the stratosphere. I couldn't tell you why or how. They made some fantastic records, and then became this massive band, far bigger than anybody within the band, including Noel, could ever dream of. The size they became, and then carried on making records. But I don't know what it's like to be in a band that big, what kind of challenges you face, or what kind of control you've got over making records as your career developed and you're massive and you've played at Nebworth. There probably is no controlling factors other than just you just do what you want to do, and they made some fantastic records, and even towards the end of the career, first time round, there's still one or two absolutely great songs on some of the later albums, but I'm just dead pleased for them, and I'm really pleased for the people that like we've got 3 daughters. Our youngest daughter She's never, she was born after they split up, or she was 5 when they split up, so she had no chance of seeing them. So she's seeing her friends, she and her friends are looking forward to seeing them. And they never had a chance to do that. They can see, the Blue Tones or Happy Mondays or even ourselves. But Oasis is just something that happened and ended before she was old enough to go to gigs. So just feeling the sense of excitement over teenagers or people in their early 20s getting the first chance to see Oasis. Whereas we saw them in the Boardwalk in front of 10 people in 1991 or 92 or whatever, So possibly not quite as exciting for us personally, but, I have no problem with it whatsoever,
And some people are complaining that, as you said, your daughter is looking forward to seeing them, having not really seen them before or having not grown up in a time of Oasis. People are complaining about them jumping the queue for tickets. They're the ones buying the tickets. Where do we stand on that? Everyone,
tough, innit?
Yeah, everyone got a right to the Oasis tickets.
Well, it's like everybody, you just join the queue. It don't matter. It shouldn't be dictated by how old you are, should it? I mean, I imagine a lot of the older people are less tech savvy. Like they probably don't know how to use online ticketing or whatever. Some of these 50-year-old geezers. But yeah. But yeah, it's. I think it's. Like when the announcement was made, I thought it was amazing. It was headline news across the UK and further afield probably. So, yeah, it's been brilliant to see it, and I'm just chuffed that this iconic band that have changed a lot of people's lives in this country. We were part of that story. You know what I mean? We were part of that. If we hadn't to give Noel that job, it might not have ended up being the Oasis that it is. You know what I mean?
And did you have much contact with them once they became stars, or with Noel?
Yeah, I mean, we still do. And I mean, I've spent a lot of time as a broadcaster over the years, so there's been times when professionally I've been, connected with them to do interviews or whatever. But yeah, generally we've stayed in touch, haven't we?
Yeah, I've followed Noel's career quite closely and just watching him do his craft as he's now the front man in his solo band, as was, So it's been quite interesting to see that, because obviously in Oasis he was off to the side, but obviously the songwriter. So now taking the lead role, it's been quite interesting seeing that, and still writing some very interesting songs. I quite often go and see his gigs or whatever if he's nearby to where we are. He's I've just got a lot of time for him. It's they just all both Noel and Liam, whenever they're interviewed, just make me laugh. They're funny, aren't they? They're just naturally funny.
And the same old people that you remember them being back in the early 90s.
For me, yeah, I wouldn't claim I'm best friends with Noel or whatever, but they're just very naturally funny human beings.
I see them both as still being the same people as they were. I mean, money changes obviously to some extent, but like Liam, when we first met Liam, he was really shy. He was shy when we first met him, but you sort of knew just by the way he looked that he's going to end up being a star. He had that look about him, even before he was in the band, didn't he? He had that. Yeah. But yeah, I think whenever I encounter them, they're just the same people as they were back then. You know what I mean? And they've got time for their audience as well, which is nice. They don't have they're both men of the people, aren't they? That's the way I see it. And I think they're still working class people in rich men's bodies now, aren't they?
Clothes.
Clothes, yeah.
Will you be going to see them on their upcoming reunion tour?
It's a good question. I think I'm actually on holiday when they're on.
You don't want to stand in a muddy field, do you? That's what it is.
No, but you could then argue I could go and see him at Wembley, couldn't you?
You'll be all right. I'll get your chair on side at stage.
I'm in there. It's difficult because we're doing gigs ourselves over the summer. Plus there's a lot of cricket on. It would be interesting to see, the excitement, but maybe somebody else would possibly deserve to go more than me, because we did see them a lot back in the day.
I'd love to see. I've not, just text on the day, don't you? I'd love to see. Is it Cardiff the first gig? Yeah. I'd love to see that first minute when they walk out on stage, and that moment would be that's the magical moment, isn't it? I probably will see them at Eaton Park, but I'd rather be stood there when they walk on
Yeah, I'm
stage
going
for
to
the first
Cardiff.
time. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
going
I'm
to
going to
Cardiff,
Cardiff. So I can't expect to see you side of stage then when they play Manchester in the summer.
I might do a bit of crowd surfing, mate.
I won't be allowed on stage. They don't let people like me on stage.
And I'll just finish up by asking you your favourite Oasis song.
Oof. Just one.
And then one song, one album.
It's got to be definitely maybe album. I'd say probably Champagne Supernova. Sometimes it's acquiesced, but Champagne probably at the moment.
Song, The Master Plan. I just think it's really clever how it's worked out. And I remember sending Noel a text saying, that's brilliant how you've worked that song out. And he said, thank you, that's good coming from you.
Who is this?
Yeah, who are you? And have you got my number?
And give me your favourite album, quickly.
Revolver? Oh, no, sorry.
I'll get you, that's Beatles.
Thank you. It took a while,
Sorry,
that
I was
though.
thinking about something. I was thinking about
I do like that album that's got the importance of being idle on. Whatever that album.
Don't Believe the Truth.
Yes, Don't Believe the Truth. That's got some interesting lines in that song. It says something like, I beg the doctor for one more line.
Yeah.
And when we were recording one of our albums, Noel was with us setting the gear up, but his bones were aching. And we had a floodlit tennis court and it was raining in the evenings because it was winter, and we'd be playing football and cricket under floodlights at night in this tennis court, and Noel couldn't run around because his legs were aching. So he went back to Manchester. We were down south. He went back to Manchester and went to see the doctor what was wrong with him, and the doctor said, have you been taking drugs? And he said, well, I might have been. And he said, well, you need to stop because this is what's doing your body in. And he said, oh, can I just not have one more line, for all time's sake? And I'm convinced that's where the line from that song came from.
And for Virgin Radio Britpop, new station just launched, can you name your favourite Britpop songs?
Does She's So High by Blur count? Probably.
No,
She's So High. Britpop.
James.
Ocean Coloured Scene.
Yeah.
The Day She Caught the Train.
Oh, I was going to say 100 Mile High City. That's good.
Oh, the
Paul
outro.
Weller, the godfather
The outro.
of
Oh.
mod Britpop.
Yeah.
I like the Blue Tones, mate. Got a thing for the Blue Tones.
Ride. Leave them all behind.
Graham, Clint, thank you very much for
You're
coming
welcome,
in.
Donny. Great to see you.
Catching Inspiral
Thanks.
carpets this year across the
Fantastic.
country.
Thank you.
Maybe at Manchester as well in the
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah, we'll be there. One way or another, we'll be there, won't we?
Yeah.